This is OUTrageIOUSity THREE. The name of it is The Eternal Search in the Top Universities of the World, but mostly in America, for the one right-iest model. My model is better than your model. My model is better than your model. This is a game played by 40, 50-year-old academics at Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and places like that. My model is better than your model. My model is better than your model. Research literatures are supposed to accumulate so that these results here, and these results here, and these results here, and gradually we see a pattern among them, and they disprove these directions, and they tend to lead us in these directions, and gradually we converge on something that stands for centuries as reality that we can depend on and use. And you don't get that when everybody is ignoring everybody else's model because my model is better. So we don't test other people's models in different circumstances and places. We don't replicate their work. We ignore their work, and we show that our model is better. Now, if you're Harvard, you got more money than everybody, so you can validate all your variables and make them statistically reliable and be superior in all of these journals. And the fact that when your model is fully applied by Procter & Gamble and produces no creativity as results, well, that's just an insignificant detail. So my model doesn't work, but its research methods are superior to anybody else's, and all of my variables are reliable because I had enough money and time at Harvard to do that. So I'm superior to you. My model is the right-iest model. It doesn't work. It's useless, but it's the right-iest model, and I'm at the top university, so the hell with you. Who needs impact and care when you're right-iest? It's the academic equivalent of religiosity. My God is better than your God, and so if we play basketball, my God's going to beat the hell out of your God, maybe like 30, 40 points, and therefore I might as well kill a few of your people if they don't marry the way I want to marry, if they don't wear clothes the way I want to wear clothes. So the equivalent of that in academia is my model. My model just defeated your model in a contest, and I have more validated variables than you have. Now, what's the cure for this adolescent game done by 40, 50-year-olds at elite universities, making no impact on the world, getting $5,000 a day, $10,000 a day consulting fees because they're a Harvard brand or the MIT brand, but actually their stuff doesn't work when applied by Procter & Gamble and very sincere other organizations? So, what is the cure? The name of the disease is one right-iest model. Or, paraphrase, my model is better than your model. I prefer to sing it. My model is better than your model. My model is better than your model. This adolescent game done by 40, 50-year-old professors. Not to mention that the statistics in Psychology Review, about 77% of the articles in the Psychology Review last year, the statistics were completely invalid. Completely. The sample bias was so enormous that it was hundreds of times stronger than the correlational effects they found. And the editors of Psychology Review simply don't know basic statistics. It's hard to believe, but Harry Roberts, who invented the Minitab language, who founded the American Statistical Association, who was my mentor at the University of Chicago, his last two papers actually demonstrated this. Okay, so the disease's name is one right-iest model. What's the name of the cure? The name of the cure is multiple models of everything. Balanced repertoires of models replacing single right-iest models. And this means you find out that creativity is not one thing. You go out and find out who the most creative people of the world are. You give them protocol analysis items in your questionnaire and interview. You give them total quality process modeling questions. You give them process architecting questions from re-engineering. All of these are not part of social science because they come from engineering and they come from software and inside the mind protocols ignored by social scientists. And so you end up with what? You end up with 60 models of creativity. Now, that's been extended by my work recently into 120 models of creativity. What you want is a theory that explains all of those 120 models of creativity. Now, we have some by Runkel, by Simonton, by Sternberg, by Amibile. And these models, as soon as you make them general enough to cover 10 models of creativity, the components of the theory become so vague and general It's like love and care for your children as a theory of parenting. It's probably true, but it gives you very little practical use in daily life. In this situation, what does love and care consist of? So I have Amibale's environment variables and intrinsic motivation, which was a variable in creativity research a good 300 years ago. Francis Bacon wrote it in his journals. And so here we have Harvard statistically proving that Francis Bacon's theory 300 years ago was right, and another 17 million people since Francis Bacon who said that intrinsic motivation helped to make people creative. So we have this unsurprising, banal, uninsightful, powerless, impactless theory of creativity with all of its variables statistically validated and proved reliable. 42 environment variables, $3 million, 2 years. We changed them all at Procter & Gamble, and what do we get? The ability to copy a hit Japanese product 8 years later, which you could have done without a consultant, without the 3 years, without the $2 million, without Amibale, without Harvard, and without statistically validated variables. You could have done with a large barking dog. This is a game. The game is kissing up my one right-iest model thing for academics, and it doesn't work. And the solution is balanced repertoires of plural diverse models. 60 models of creativity of 10 different types. So, I won't go into that solution in detail, as I wrote a 3,700-page book on it already, and then I wrote another little 1,000-page book on it already, and I've got an article in Springer's forthcoming Encyclopedia of Creativity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship on 120 models of creativity, so you can look there. But this thing is saying that the academic game of my model is better than yours, and I have the one right-iest model, and my variables are statistically reliable and validated, and totally without impact and power, that's a joke, it's a lie, it's intellectually dishonest, it's morally dishonest, it's why we lost the Vietnam War, it's why we lost the Afghanistan War, it's why we lost the Iraqi War, and it is why America is in deep economic trouble, because its elites are a bunch of idiots doing that stuff. If you think they're not idiots, and you think they aren't evil, then you are naive.